Welcome back. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake.
𝗙𝗕𝗢𝗡 from Hope Adventure.
And today we'd like to issue a travel warning for those of you who are going to be traveling soon, how to restart international travel. We think things have changed, and we want to tell you how they've changed and how we've adapted to them so that you don't get into some of the problems that we've gotten into over the last year or so of flying since things changed so much. So.
Yes.
You see there's fewer services available in the airports, and there's reduced hours, and so we recommend not taking those early morning flights where you arrive at like 4 in the morning. We'll tell you why in a second, or late at night, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You see, they're not paying people to sit around in the last year, so a lot of the services you're used to aren't there, so you need to show up in business hours. So now we're going to tell you how our routine has changed and what our original routine was and what are the changes we made. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Okay, step 1 of the process is we have to decide what country we're going to go to and whether or not it's worth all the hassle. Because we first check on whether or not we need a visa to that country, which we start at Kayak, kayak.com. And by the way, you don't need to write all this down. It'll be in writing. You can so just listen for now. And we check the embassy webpage, and then we check the tourism webpage for the country to see what documents we'll need when we land in that country.
Most of the documents you will get most of the documents. No, actually it's the tourism website of the country will tell you the more detail that you need when you enter into the country. It's same with Guatemala or Mexico, mostly it's the tourisms will tell you more about it because they're doing tourisms.
Yeah, so the goal is to find out information about what you need when you land in the country. Assuming you don't need a visa. If you need a visa, then you have to find out what documents for that. Where do you go to get the visa? Can you do it by e-visa? Do you have to go to the embassy, find out, and then decide, okay, here's what we need. Do we want to go to that country? And once we've decided, yeah, it's worth it, that they're not too crazy with what they want, then we know what documents we'll need.
Yeah, because some of the country, they need your COVID test, or they need your insurance, the COVID insurance, which is very expensive. And a lot of things, and then you need to fill out the health pass before you arrive to the country. They need to know your boarding pass, which number seat that you seated. Everything is quite a nightmare right now to be travel. So we try to pick a simple ones that they don't require so much in the country for us to fly on.
Yeah. And so you gather that information and make a decision whether or not you want to go to that country, basically. Okay, step 2, we have to book a one-way flight into the country. We often use Skyscanner for that because they have a function that you can set what's the cheapest day of the month to fly into that country, and it'll tell you what airline to fly in on. And then we go to the airline website and verify that all the documents they're requiring is the same ones that we saw in Kayak, the embassy website, and on the tourism website.
I would be more suggest you to check on the airline that you fly, the website, to see what is the document you need to fly to that country, because you are dealing with the airline itself, not other people. They have the right to reject you, to deny you on boarding.
Right. So even if you could get through immigration, if you got there, if you're not giving the airline what they want, they may not let you board the flight.
No, first thing you have to go through is the airline to get the boarding pass, then on the immigration.
Yeah.
We saw some people, they got denied as well, they share in the Facebook express group. It's crazy about that. So in the airline website, they will tell you the COVID test. Which kind of the COVID test? Is antigens or PCR? And
or no test at all.
Or
like
no test
at
all. Or insurance or anything. So check with the airline website is the best one, because they are the one who you need to go through the first step to get boarding pass.
So they're the gatekeeper. So once you've found the cheapest flight, you find out what airline it is, you book the flight, and you make sure you have all the documents that they need. And the one thing we've changed here in step 2, booking a one-way ticket, is that we make sure we do our best to land in the middle of the business day when it's more likely the full airport will be open. We'll be able to find an ATM machine. We'll be able to find somebody who's willing to sell us a SIM card to put into our unlocked phone, and so we'll be able to communicate. We'll be online again. And so that's step 2.
Yeah, it's happened to us that we fly to Mexico a few years ago. We land, it's after 10 o'clock, so all the business is closed. And we have no SIM cards. I don't think we got the ATM as well. And luckily, in the Mexico airport inside, they have a little Wi-Fi for us to book the Uber.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, in Guatemala's airport, even we land in the daytime, they have no Wi-Fi for us to book the Uber. That's so crazy. Don't play with that.
Yeah. Luckily, we were able to find an ATM.
Yeah.
There were no ATMs in arrivals. Luckily, Chung had the idea, go to departures. So we went up to departures. We found an ATM machine, got some local money out. We used that money to buy a SIM card, put that in the phone, and we were able to order an
And
Uber.
there is only one store, the small one, just like temporary store, and then have one people over there to selling the SIM card. If you arrive in the midnight, I don't think you will get the SIM card.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been there. So then we'll tell you what to do about that next. Okay, step 3, you have to book accommodations. The old way to do it is we would pick 5 accommodations we really liked that made sense they were near what we wanted to do, they were good price, they look like a good internet, we read all the reviews, we'd pick the top 5 and we send all of them a message making them an offer that we think was fair for a month or 2 or a few weeks, however long we want to stay there. One of them would accept, we'd book it, and that we would fly into a place with a month accommodations already arranged. We don't do that anymore. There's a new process. We only book the first few nights because Airbnb has come so expensive and they have taxes added, and the hotel lobbies has forced all these new rules onto homeowners that Airbnb is required to enforce. And so it's come too expensive. Sometimes they don't let you stay the number of days they want. And so we have a new process for you. Just click the link. And then Chung will give you an example.
Yeah, example, I will go to the Facebook aspect group. I will write the message about how long we want to stay and how much is our budget. And yes, there's a lot of people who say, just go to Airbnb. But I'm not, actually the message is attracted the owner will send me a private message that this is my house, this, and this is the price, so you can come and see anytime. So this is my technique to get better accommodation, and more, but you need to click on the links to check about how we find the best accommodations.
So book a few days, get on the ground, talk to landlords, do the Facebook thing Chung's talking about, click our process, and do that in order to get longer term accommodations.
The Airbnb was saying Antigua, in the website and the Airbnb website, they have a lot of places to advertise this unit, is $70 per night. 70. How much we got that? Less than that, a lot. If you want to know how, check the link.
Okay, step 4. This is the old way we used to do it. We would just fly into a city. We would buy a SIM card, or first we'd go to the ATM, get the local money. We'd buy a SIM card. There's always a SIM card there. Slip it into the phone. We'd open up the Uber app, and boom, we'd take an Uber to our accommodations. But things have changed. Sometimes the ATM machine is broken. It's not being serviced like it used to be. Maybe you can't find a SIM card. Maybe you can't get the money out of an ATM to buy a SIM card. And so we'll teach you how to do that in a second. So here's some of the backup things you can do. If there's no SIM card, therefore you can't get an Uber, we have a host of the place you're staying leave a message on your WhatsApp application saying how to get to the house and what the directions are, what the address is, and how much it should cost to go from the airport to their house. We have them leave a complete message on there, and then we just play that to the taxi driver. The other thing we can do is Chung will tell you about in a minute, is we'll find ground transportation that will take us from the airport before we even fly to the country. And so someone will be there with our name on a name card when we arrive.
Yeah, now everyone think that when you arrive in a new country, you will think that just take an Uber, you can go everywhere. But it's not all the country they have Uber, and some of the country they have Uber, but the Uber will be cancel your request when they arrive. They just click cancel, that they ask for the more money. So all these informations, I will check it in the Facebook expat group based on the country, and then I will see what is the transportations when they arrive in the airport. Example, in the Mexico City, you can use Uber, there's no problem. But in Cancun, there's no Uber, and the taxi is very expensive. So I will go to search and how to go get the transportation, the private driver. Once a private driver, they cannot carry you the sign. You only can be waiting outside and deal with them before you fly. 1-2 days before, and they give you the car number, plate, and blah blah blah, and the car, the color, and or check with the Airbnb or hotel that's what is the transportation they can provide, because this is more reliable than that you find online transportation by yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's step 4. Okay, step 5. 12 hours before you fly, you need to get online and check what the exchange rate is. For example, let's say it's 7 to 1, whatever the currency is, to $1, and you normally pull like $200 out of your ATM, just as an example. And so you need to know when you arrive in that country, what is the currency called and what's the conversion rate, because when you walk up to that machine, you need to say, oh, it's 7 to 1, I normally told 200, so I need to pull out 1,400 of the local currency. So check what the exchange rate is on the currency. That's one thing. The next thing is you need 12 hours before the flight, you want to book your onward flight proof. There's companies that for $10 to $12 to $15, you rent an onward flight. Now, some countries require when you enter their country or you check into the airline, you have proof that you're going to be leaving that country. It's called an onward flight. Well, these companies have cropped up that will rent you an onward flight, and we'll put the links below. And you buy it for $10, $12, you print it out or put it in a PDF, and depending on what the country requires, they might need it when you walk into immigration or walk into the airline. You need to get that onward flight proof, and it's a real onward flight. Your name is in the international database as on that flight, on that date, for 48 hours, and that's why you only want it 12 hours before you fly.
Yeah, and it's also that the website that we're using, they have the customer support. So is anything problem or the flight that you don't like, you contact with the customer service, they revise for you and send you in the 10 minutes. So far we are using, until right now, everything is good.
Yeah, we've never had an onward flight refused.
Yes.
Even though they're only issued for 48 hours, the 48 hours that matter is when you're boarding the flight and when you land in the country and you're going through immigration. If they check your name's on that flight and you even have a confirmation number. So that's the other thing. Next, you need 12 hours before your flight, you need to do a little bit of reading about which SIM card you want to slip in your phone, because some SIM cards are better than others in each country. So you want to read a little bit about that. So if you get to the airport and there's not just one SIM seller, there's 2, you know which one's better, and you know about how much price that you should be paying. And then you go and you prepare whatever documents you learned earlier from the immigration and from the embassy and from the airline webpage that you're going to need for both boarding and getting through immigration. You print those out and have them ready to show to immigration. That's what we used to do. So the new step is, or we used to just do PDFs and save them on our cell phones. Now we actually print out the documents themselves, because immigration has a lot of time on their hands. They don't have a backup of 500 people anymore in a queue waiting to go. There might only be 50 people there and 10 immigration officials. So they like to ask you more questions. They mess with you a little bit. And so before, they may not, they'd be so busy they don't really care. Now they are all asking questions. And so we like to have the printed documents to show them to them. And so we're saying very little. We're just handing them every document they need in printed form. And so that's step 5, 12 hours before flying. Okay, step 6, it's the day you fly. You show up at the airport at least 3 hours early. Why? You need time to adjust. Let's say they've refused your onward flight or something else happens, there's some other document they need. You need some time to go over to a coffee shop, sit down and relax, get on the internet and gather whatever information they want. Don't go there 2 hours before your flight and expect to overcome those kind of difficulties. You want to get there early so you can make whatever adjustments you need and catch your flight. The new part of step 6 is that in addition to what I just said, you also take currency and get about $100 worth of local currency at a money exchanger before you board your flight. You see, when you land in the new place, if the ATM doesn't work and there's no money exchanger there, you've already got some local money. You're able to buy a SIM card, slip it into your unlocked phone, and get your Uber to your accommodations. And so the reason you want some money is just so in case no ATM, no money exchanger at your destination, you got some money in your pocket.
Actually, it depends on the country. And a lot of information of the airport when you go research is not true. It's happened to us also. So we need to save. We happen to be arrived in the country. There's no ATM. The ATM is not working, and no SIM card. Or we arrive in the midnight. Boom! It's just horrible.
Yeah. Yes. And so if you have some local money when you land, you're going to be able to solve some problems. Okay, step 7. You're landing in a new country. You landed. So the old way was you would clear immigration, you would clear customs, you get your bag, and then you'd look for the SIM card company, or first the ATM, get the local money, and then you go buy the SIM card, slip it into your unlocked phone, order an Uber, off you go to your accommodations. Pretty straightforward. Now with airports having fewer services, maybe the ATM machine hasn't been restocked, maybe it's not working, maybe that part of the airport's closed, so you can't get money out of the ATM. But you have that money you got in the old country, you use that money to buy the SIM card. And if there's no SIM card in the arrivals, then go to check-in departures, look for SIM cards and ATMs. Now, if there's no ATM, but maybe you find a SIM card, whatever, get another, because you haven't got more money out with your ATM yet. You want a couple hundred at least. Take another 100, exchange that for local money. So now you got a couple hundred in local money, you got a phone card with the SIM card. If you have the phone card with the SIM card in it, order your Uber taxi, boom, there you go to the accommodations. If you couldn't find a SIM card in the place, then you have that message you could play to the local taxi driver and get them to consent to the money, hold up the amount of the local money, get them to consent, and off you go to the place.
Or you get the Wi-Fi in the airport.
Yeah.
But it's very, very rare on this case. Don't play with the airport's Wi-Fi because there's the Guatemala City airport, the Wi-Fi is not working.
Yeah. It happened to me in San Jose once when I went to visit family. The Wi-Fi wasn't working and I didn't have a SIM card yet.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
It was the middle of the night and they were all closed down. So yeah, so that's what you do when you land. Now the new part of step 7 is before you land. I'm going through customs. There's an ATM machine over there. I'll wait till I get out in the arrivals area. No, you see an ATM machine, you go over there and you get local money out of it. Don't walk by ATM machines thinking you got choices. You see a SIM card seller, you walk over there and you get a SIM card in your phone. You need those communications. Even if later you buy another card you like more, you need to get from the airport to your accommodations. And if you haven't seen an ATM and you only have the first 100 you got out in the city you came from, but you see a money exchanger, get another 100 because you don't know if there'll be an ATM in the lobby.
Yes.
And now you have a little bit of local money. And so once you've figured out whether you have the ATM and exchange some extra money, now you're ready. Can I get an Uber if I got a SIM card? If not, I have the recorded message to play to the taxi driver. So that's the new step 7. Okay, here's a step 8 we added because things are in chaos right now. If you get to the airport and you're unable to buy a SIM card, they're not there, then you're going to have to play that message to the taxi driver and get them to take you to the accommodations. Once you get to the accommodations, I hope your Wi-Fi works because you're going to need to get on your phone or your computer and find out where a SIM card seller is. And then you can use the Wi-Fi to get on Uber to order a taxi. You'll have to stay inside near the Wi-Fi until the taxi's out front. Then you run out, jump in the taxi, they'll take you to the SIM card seller.
Yeah, and I would suggest you can ask your Airbnb owner or just research where is a big shopping mall. Because in the shopping mall, they will have telecommunications, they will have ATM, and they will have food.
Yeah. Okay, step 9 is also new. Uber just changed something that is worth you knowing so you're not alarmed when it happens. Uber, when we landed in Guatemala City, we got a text from Uber saying that we didn't wear our mask, which was BS. We knew we had to wear a mask, plus we were getting in a taxi with someone we didn't know. We had double masks on when we left the airport. And so we knew we had our masks on. We thought it was BS. And they said that the Uber driver reported us as not having a mask on. And I kind of questioned whether that even happened. But here's the deal. So Uber, you have to wear a mask to get on Uber. If you don't wear a mask and the driver reports you, I think you only get 1 or 2 tries, and after that you can't use Uber anymore. So make sure to wear your mask. It's a very convenient service.
Actually, is the Uber want to check whether you wear a mask.
Yeah.
So they need, and then when you order the Uber, they want you to take a selfie right on the apps to show them that you are wearing the mask.
That you have a mask on, and that's the change.
Yeah.
So now when you go to book an Uber, you say, I'm going here, pick me up here, and then it says, okay, but let's take a picture of you first. So you have to hold up your phone, put your face in the middle of the camera, and take a picture showing you have a mask on. And that's the new step.
Only one-time thing. You just don't freak out because this is normal procedure. They will ask you. Uber always changing the rule and regulations.
Right. They did take my picture twice, though. It wasn't just a one-time.
Oh, okay.
So it happened twice, but after that, I started trusting me again to wear a mask. So that was number 9.
Mm-hmm.
So things have changed, and we just don't want you to get spooked by it or get caught off guard. And all of this is in writing. Just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video. Don't get spooked by this. Just learn what to do, adjust, and everything's fine. Since you'll know all about all this in advance, you won't have to learn it by experience like we did. Hopefully it'll save you some stress and whatever. So thanks for watching our video.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our video. Click the link in the notes below this video to get a copy of this content. Plus, grab a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 13 Years. While you're there, check out our catalog of retired cheap reports all over the world and our hobby income course that we just released. Thanks so much.